All right, I needed to change PCs, so it's going to be a PDF version since the font is not working on this PC. And I thought I will be talking about our brain operating system and how can we master it to unfold the full potential of us or of our clients, as potentially coaches are the one looking at it. And to start it with, I would like to ask you a question. So if you think about a person like a child who is let's say a 1 year old and it's learning to work, it's learning to speak. So what do you think is the curiosity and openness for you for that child? Maybe you can write in chat. What do you think? 1 is like kind of very low and 10 is like, whoa, that's really huge and curious, open for everything. And I've asked this question already in some other rounds and also with leaderships. And the usual answer I get on this, it's around like 10, not very surprisingly, right? But if we look like on average adults, let's assume like age 43 and just, obviously it's a bit different from person to person, but what I think is like the average curiosity and openness for new stuff on a scale from 1 to 10. What is that? What do you think? Maybe use the chat again. Yeah, it drops, right? And that's interesting. If you think, how happened, the first thought which I have usually is like, oh, luckily we have learned to work and learned to talk as we have been still so curious and open for new, like as in the age of 1. Imagine we would be now starting to learn to work, right? How would it look like? Oh, you probably will be crawling, then you get up and you feel like, oh, but this is a bit wobbly. Oh, I'm not sure I can stand. And look, I'm falling down. Look, it doesn't work, and rationally it's a really complex thing. So we're just standing on 2 legs. I tried again. Look, I failed. It doesn't work. So most of us will be just crawling if we would start to learn how to work right now. What happens to us? What happens to us as humans that we lose this default state of curiosity? And this is something I want to talk to you. And since I'm engineer from a background, something like operating systems resonates to me as a word, something like, you can put apps on your smartphone, on your computer, those things which are running, but the operating systems decide which app will be working and which app will be not working. So it's something really underlying, determining your performance overall. So first of all, if you imagine where we are coming from as humans, there is some certain evolutionary conditioning happening. For 125,000 generations, we humans have been gatherers and hunters. For another 600 generations, we have been farmers. For another 10 generations, we have been working, living in industrial age. And then just for 2 generations, we are information age. Evolution is not able to pick up in that terms. So that means we have a little bit outdated operating system, which is not bad, not good, and it's common to all of us humans, but we just need to see how can we master it? How can we navigate it in a most professional way? So something which came up is a negativity bias. Why it's here? It brought us where we are here. It helped us to survive, because spotting a danger was a matter of life or death, right? If you are in a bush and you hear some noises, and if you would not hear it and not prioritize it, you might be eaten by a lion. So this is the reason, because the brain scans your environment for potential dangers to protect you. So it spots the negative, the dangerous stuff, much more intensive than positive stuff which is happening. So negativity bias is one of the features of our brain operating system. Another one is the social conditioning. And this is connected to our fears. We have been surviving because we have been living in tribes, right? Me alone, you alone with wild animals, you would not be able to survive, right? So the humans learned to survive, you need to be part of a tribe. To be part of a tribe, you need to be socially accepted. And this is very much connected to our fears. In a big study, people have been asked about, so what is your biggest fear? Number 2 was fear of death. Number 1 was fear of speaking in public in front of many people. And this is so much connected to our social conditioning, because if you speak in front of many people, well, guess what? There will be some people who would just not like your speech. And this is part of social conditioning. And it brings a lot of kind of interpersonal risk for us, right? No one jumps in the morning off of bed and looks like, oh, today I want to be ignorant, I want to be incompetent, intrusive, negative. This is a very interpersonal risk which we are taking. And this is a little bit already connected to the unfolding of potential, right? Because it's easy to manage the interpersonal risk. We just don't ask questions. We don't admit weaknesses, mistakes. We just don't offer ideas. And guess what? Is it unfolding the full potential? I don't think so. Also, something which is very relevant for our brain is that we create certain expectations for what will come. And then if reality comes in, we compare the reality to our expectations. We just don't take reality as such, but we always compare it to what we have expected. Imagine you're about to have vacations, you're going to have a whatever sunny beach time, this is your expectations, and suddenly it's raining. So what happens to your feeling? Oh, you feel like, vacation was bad. But as such, it was not bad. Your expectations were not met. This is what happens. So our brain is telling a story. All the time it's telling a story. And why is that? Because it's a lot of information which is happening outside, and we're just not able to take each and every single information. We're creating cohesive stories. So, and this is the question, what story are you telling yourself? Because this will definitely decide where you put your focus on, what will you spot? Because we only spot less than 1% of the stuff happening around us. This very much depends on the story we are telling ourselves. And as humans, we tend to avoid change. It's also connected to how we consume the energy, right? To not change is energy saving. So if we're about to change, there need to be either a huge pain or a huge kind of things which will be up the horizon after the change. So a huge motivation. So what can we do to master? What can we do to master these limitations of the operating system? So the first one is to become aware. Quite often, we are on autopilot, which is also as such not bad. This is just the efficiency gains of our brains. So we don't lose a lot of energy. We figure out the pattern. Daniel Kahneman wrote a great book about it, Thinking Fast, Thinking Slow, describing there is a system 1, a system 2, and most of the time we're in system 2, which is very quick, doesn't consume a lot of energy. It's the autopilot system. And just becoming aware of what system you're in right now. Is that something I'm just spotting more negative or positive? Oh, is it a story which I'm telling myself and I'm just fitting the facts into it? Just becoming aware of all of this. And also knowing that once we become aware, we can move from a reaction to a response. Viktor Frankl is a survivor of Holocaust, And he was reflecting on his experience in Holocaust. And then he brought that between stimulus, so whatever happens around us, and a response, there is a space. Sometimes to us, it doesn't feel like we have a space, right? Sometimes it feels like stimulus, reaction, buff. But there's always a little space. And if we are able to create this space and enlarge it by becoming aware, suddenly we realize, oh, there are different responses possible. Suddenly we realize the way how we want to show up and making a conscious choice for unfolding potential or not. And in this picture, and most of us are not in the chicken industry, so it doesn't matter if it's chicken or fence, but I think it's a nice picture to be aware, depending on what you focus, depending on what story are you telling yourself, you will be seeing stuff. So if you change your story, you will be suddenly seeing different factors around your life for you, but also for your clients as a coach. If you are able to kind of tap into what story you're telling yourself and just trying to get the client to say, hey, how about this would be the true story? How do you know that your story is true? Let's try this story. And then you would suddenly realize how much different factors are you able to see just by changing the story. And another factor I want to spend a little bit time talking about, and maybe let's start with the picture, here a lot of yellow lemons. And now imagine you would be wearing blue glasses. How would this lemons look like to you if you're wearing blue glasses? Maybe you would like to use the chat and give me an answer. Yeah. Green. Yes. Yeah, you would see green. But did the lemon change themselves? They did not, right? They're still yellow. They're still yellow, how they used to be before, but you have put different glasses on and suddenly the reality looks different. And this is what we can call mindset, because this is the mindset through which you see the world. And quite often we're trying to change a behavior, and then we're just wondering, how come, I'm trying to change but doesn't change? Well, because the mindset is something which is sitting underneath. And if you don't change the mindset, it will be so hard to change behavior and thinking. McKinsey, a large consultancy company, did a study about trying to change behaviors. And they found out if you are changing the mindset, you are 4 times more likely to be successful in a change rather if you try to change the behavior. So there are some reasons to think about mindset. And one of the mindset, which would be super helpful if you are into exploring potential of yourself, but also potential of your clients, is to look at the work which was done in Stanford University by Carol Dweck. It's around growth mindset. And it's really mind-blowing. Carol Dweck, she spent probably like 30 years. And she was really wondering, wow, how come people start with similar talents, but some people are ending up having a much more happy and successful life and some don't? What is the difference? What is that? And she was researching kids, she was researching students at university, she was researching corporations, relationship, all different types of our lives. And she boiled it down that mindset has a huge difference. And the book is great. I've read it by now a couple of times. It is so insightful. And basically, it's like with these lemons before, depending on what mindset you are in, the same situation would trigger different thinking and different behavior. And if you are in a mindset which is like kind of more tuned into potential, same situation would trigger thinking more like, oh, what a great opportunity. And behavior would be like, oh, striving, learning, excel in this. The very same situation in a different mindset would be something like, oh, not again. And you will be purely about surviving it. And also, to make you aware about different mindsets, this shape, it could be a circle, it could be a square, it could be a triangle. It just depends on from perspective you're looking at. So the same with our life. There is no truth as such. There are different perspectives, different mindsets, different glasses you can put on to look on your reality. So, and what are the mindsets which Carol Dweck kind of condensed her work into? There's a fixed mindset and growth mindset. And in a fixed mindset, people believe talents and skills are given. And since they're given, their goal is to just turn their sunny side up and look smart. Whatever they do, they try to find situation where they can again do the check mark. Okay, my talents approved. In a growth mindset, people believe that talents and skills can be developed with effort. So their goal is to learn. They create situation in life where they are growing. They might fail, but they are growing. And those mindset, they result in very different lives. The fixed mindset is plateauing early on and has a deterministic view of world. People in growth mindset, they achieve ever higher levels of achievement and also happiness. And I brought some examples for you, just for you. You might want to grab a pen if you like and just do some notes for you, just honestly, and see how those different mindsets can show up in your life. And none of us is always fixed or growth mindset. It's more about making conscious choices. We're doing around 1,000, 2,000 choices each day, micro choices. And in what mindset are you doing a choice? So around challenges, if you would be in a fixed mindset, you would rather avoid challenges and opt for what's easy. It's obvious, right? So if you're about to show your sunny side, choose an easy project that you can succeed and say, wow, great, I'm done. If you're about growth mindset, you embrace challenges and opt for what's hard because your goal is to becoming. Your goal is to grow. You compare yourself to your yesterday selves, right? You're not stuck, but you are always looking how to improve. If you're in a growth mindset, you are embracing criticism, constructive feedback. You try to learn from it. And if you're in a fixed mindset, you just rather ignore it and find reasons why the feedback doesn't fit you. The mistakes, hidden, or people would even lie about it because it would show they are not capable to do of something. In a growth mindset, it's part of your journey to do mistakes. So you admit, you're correct, you learn from it. It's part of you growing. In failure, in a fixed mindset, they're discouraging and you see it as a sign of stupidity. And failure in growth mindset, they just don't exist as such because you just relate it to a part of journey, you relate to lack of experience or skills in a certain moment. And there are even different brain regions activated depending on a mindset you are in, either your growth mindset or fixed mindset. Your brain regions are activated in a different way. There's also new insights, again from McKinsey from this year, exploring the skills which we need to kind of survive in this world today. And probably not new, like IQ, technical skills needed, but it does not make the difference on the end. EQ has been there for a while, but the new something is adaptability skill. And this is where you see again growth mindset coming in as a very important qualification needed in today's day, but also something where you could unfold your potential and potential of your clients. very encouraging findings of neuroscience is neuroplasticity, meaning our brain is malleable, meaning we can start today embracing new mental habits. And the more we practice it, the more we will be able to become aware in what mindset we're operating, the more we can be in mindset which helps us to unfold the potential. And I encourage you just to train the awareness and the potential muscle of you and your clients. And I would now open up for if there are any questions, and also would invite you to help me to grow and share what's resonated most with you and what would you change? Where do you feel like, oh, this doesn't work in your presentation?
Hey, thank you so much for your beautiful guidance and running us through this beautifully orchestrated, journey into growth mindset, the brain from the baby, and how to look at the world full of curiosity. Highly appreciated it. What resonated very well with me, apart from that beautiful, orchestration, is how you brought different perspectives together. I'm actually very curious to hear from your own practice, what do you feel is most helpful for, I guess, each of us, even when we're coaches and meditation practitioners, we still have some struggles in everyday life. What do you encounter, and what is most effective for you to answer to these, maybe a bit more challenging situations?
Yeah. There are two things I think which is helpful to me. So I installed it in my routine each evening. In the evening, I reflect through my day, and I really kind of being honest to myself. Kind of the first category is like, clapping a bit on my shoulders, like, hey, what are the situations where I've reacted in a way which I felt like, oh, this is my better version. This is my potential version. But I'm also honest, and each day I find plenty of situations where I feel like, this reaction was not rather so helpful for my potential, for my team, for potential for people around me. And then I write down what would have been a different answer. And by just imagining it, I feel there are some pathways in my brain already a little bit activated, even though I can't change the past, obviously not. But quite often situations come again, or similar situation come, and with that I'm more able to kind of invite my potential self kind of to be with me and make a choice. And the second one is that I consciously let people around me know, like, guys, I'm on this journey. I try to be as much as possible in my better potential, but please tell me if you spot, and then just ask her, hey, are you sure this is the best potential option you've chosen right now, or answer. And then sometimes it's even fun, it's even laughing, sometimes even my kids like, hey mom, this was not the reaction you kind of could have given, like, oh thanks, right? So inviting co-ownership, others, also acknowledging, hey, I'm not perfect, I'm learning, happy to learn, because then they see your mistakes also in a different way, your limitations in a different way.
Beautiful.
Thanks. Anything which you feel like, I should change? Anything which you feel like, oh, it needs more explanation, it's different angle should be left out, something in that direction?
Would you want to share, Tatjana, maybe like a quick exercise? We only have 3 minutes left, but maybe you can guide us through a quick exercise that we can do together to get into, maybe from fixed mindset into growth mindset. If you have anything off the shelf, I know it's a bit
Sure. Rather journaling, or rather a kind of meditation type of exercise?
Anything that one can do within 1 or 2 minutes.
I think what's really helpful is a journaling exercise.
Mm-hmm.
And then you write for 2 minutes. If you would know nothing can go wrong, what would you try to do? Like you get rid of all of your limitations in your brain and then just start writing. What would you start? How would you show up? What would you do if you would really know nothing can go wrong?
Yeah. And then once you write that and did that, what would one then do?
Then, as a second prompt after 2 minutes, I usually ask the people to say, what would be the very first concrete little steps in the upcoming 2 weeks to start to unfold a little bit of the potential? My experiences by this, because people quite usually, yeah, I would, but, I don't know, and but, la, la, la. And if you remove this kind of box of limitation for the brain, people usually go and say, whoa, 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 this and this and this will be happening. And then, but it needs to have a grounding into something which is real. So this is the reason why I follow up with my second prompt, like in the next 2 weeks, I will be do this and this. And if there's time, I do a third prompt by saying ways how I can support myself are. So they kind of then I come up like, oh, maybe they need to organize something. And if there's even further time, I say, how might others support you on this journey? So they have the full picture, like, oh, this is where I could go. This is my very concrete. This is how I will care for myself. And this is where I can ask for support from others.
That's beautiful 3-step logic and very hands-on, right? And it probably takes only 6 minutes, including
Exactly.
then a few minutes of discussion. So within a half an hour coaching session, you could get super, super deep and
Exactly.
very concrete. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us. Tatjana, I'm just getting ready to invite and welcome the other speaker. So
Mhm.
thanks for being with us today, and
Thank you
hope we
for the
see you.
opportunity to talk.
Bye.
Bye bye.